That's right, friends. And that peppy 8-bit music can mean only one thing. It's time for another video. And today, I wanted to bring you part 2 of our series called Getting to Know Your Friendly Neighborhood House Chicken. Today, we'll be focusing on our lesser-known house chicken, Henny's cousin, Winnifred. As you can see from her stunning portrait here, unlike Henny, Winnie, or Fred, as my spouse calls her, is not a metal chicken, like her cousin Henny, but is a plushie house chicken instead. If you're a fan of our videos, and we truly hope you are, friends, you'll remember that Winnie lives out of state and often comes back home to visit, all the way from New York City. She moved out there long ago because she is a huge punk rock fan, as you can see by her bright pink mohawk. And New York is the birthplace of punk rock music. We've had a lot of people ask us what Winnie does in New York, and if she's a postmaster chicken general, like her cousin and BFF Henny. Although Winnie is a fan of post-crossing, who isn't, and snail mail in general, and has been known to lend a wing to her cousin Henny and scrub it and help when Henny's behind on her route, Winnie is not a postie, which is another name for a mailman or a letter carrier. Winnie currently puts those great pipes of hers to work as the front woman or lead singer of a Blondie tribute band called Frizzle. What's a frizzle, you say? No, it's not a red-headed teacher that drives a magical school bus, friends, although that is a good guess. In poultry science, that's the study of chickens, frizzle is a term used to describe a chicken's feathers. It basically means that a chicken has curly feathers, or to put it in human terms, curly hair. Here's a great example of a frizzle chicken. See how the tips of the feathers turn up? Oh, and just like in people, the frizzle, or the curly hair gene, is dominant, meaning if one parent has curly hair, the baby often will too. Tell me, friends, do you have curly hair like Miss Winnie? I personally don't. I have straight hair, but I always thought that curls were beautiful and looked absolutely stunning on both people and chickens. The second question I get asked about Winnie a lot is what type or breed of chicken she is, and if she's the same breed as her cousin Henny. Well, as you can all plainly see from this side-by-side comparison shot of them, Winnie looks very different from her cousin Henny. That happens sometimes in families. I look very different from my cousins as well. How about you, friends? Are you carbon copies of your cousins? Or are you more like Henny and Winnie, where you couldn't be more different? Although Winnie and Henny are family and besties, they are not the same breed. Winnie is not a golden-laced Wyandotte like Henny. Winnie's lacking the height and what my spouse and I refer to as the stained glass look, the outlined black feathers that Henny has, typical to her breed of chicken. Do you know what breed of chicken Winnie is? Any of you chicken aficionados out there have any guesses? Keeping in mind that Winnie does dye her feathers to fit her punk rock aesthetic. We'll give you a minute to think about it, friends. If you said that Winnie is a silver-spangled Appenzeller Spitzhauben, ding ding ding, you are correct. They are a polka-dotted breed. Think of them as the chicken Dalmatian, and hail all the way from Switzerland. Yes, from the town of Appenzell. That's how they get their name. Where's the Spitzhauben part come in, you say? Oh, well, that's the name of a pointy hat that Swiss ladies wore back in the 16 and 1700s during festivals and holidays. The chicken's crown, or head feathers, is said to resemble that hat. What do you think, friends? Does that hat look like Winnie's crest? The feathers on the top of her head? Another difference between Henny and Winnie's breeds is that Appenzeller chickens are not the big cuddly teddy bears that Wyandottes are. Now, don't get me wrong, they're not mean chickens. They're just very independent and slightly aloof. These are birds that don't do well in confinement. They like to be cage-free and roam about, often perching high up in the trees to get a good view of their surroundings. They like to scope out people before they engage. Honestly, I think it fits Winnie's punk vibe very well and explains why she loves to travel and touring with her band so much. As an autistic person, I have to say, I can relate a lot to Winnie and her breed. I'm not super cuddly and bright and bubbly like Henny either. Instead of a social butterfly, I'm more of a wallflower, preferring to hang back and observe or even fade away into the background if I get the chance. I always tell people to think of me like a lamp or a chair. It's there, included, always an integral part of the room, but never the focus, and barely acknowledged until it's that lamp or chair's time to shine. Again, as you can see from Miss Winnie and Henny's photo together, Appenzeller chickens are teeny tiny birds. Hens like Winnie only weigh 3 pounds. That's 1.3 kilograms for our international friends. That's about the weight of 9 apples. And they lay smaller, medium-sized eggs. Most of the recipes that we cook with here in the States call for large eggs. So remember, if you use medium eggs, especially in baking, you'll have to adjust and use more. Winnie and Henny aren't total polar opposites, though. Our cousins do have one thing in common: being able to withstand the cold, which is good because New York winters can be pretty beastly, almost as bad as ours here in the upper Midwest. This is because Appenzellers hail from the Swiss Alps, so they are no stranger to snow and frigid temperatures. Like Wyandottes, Appenzellers have small combs that grow close or tight to their face so they don't get frostbite. And unlike most breeds, Appenzellers will continue to lay eggs throughout the winter. Most chickens stop laying eggs as the days get shorter and the nights get longer. Commercial farmhouse chickens are tricked into laying all year. Did you know that, friend? Oh, yes. They're kept indoors under artificial lighting that mimics summertime. So commercial egg-laying chickens think it's summer all the time. And finally, the last question I got asked about Winnie was, and this, friends, is probably my favorite, what her favorite snack is. I had mentioned in a previous video that Henny and I enjoyed gummy worms. Henny, the sweet variety, and I, the sour. And people were curious if Winnie liked gummy worms too. So here's the scoop, friends. Winnie prefers snacks that mimic her brightly colored spots. That's right. She's a jelly bean kind of girl. So if you've got a bag, make sure to offer her a few. Her favorite flavors are pink grapefruit, cotton candy, berry blue, and blue raspberry. Now remember, only metal and plushie house chickens can eat candy. If you're looking for a great snack to share with your standard, run-of-the-mill niwatori, that's yardbird or chicken in Japanese, friends, try a member of the cucurbitaceae family. What's that, you ask? Why, that's just a fancy name for the gourd family. You know, your cucumbers, watermelons, pumpkins, and whatnots. Yep, standard chickens can eat all of those, even the seeds. Do you like pepitas or roasted pumpkin seeds as a snack, friends? I sure do. Yum, yum. If you have any more questions for Winnie or Henny, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. If we get enough of them, we'll make a follow-up video featuring them. Now, before we go, Winnie wanted to leave you with this musical-themed chicken joke. Why did the chicken join the band? Because she had the drumsticks. Wah, 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 wah. Henny and I, and Miss Winnie, would like you to please take great care of your amazing and wonderful selves, friends. Remember that there is only one you in the entire world, and that makes you precious and irreplaceable. Until we roost here together again, friends, stay dry and warm and cozy. We're still digging out of 9 inches of snow up here. Bye-bye.